I now call on Ryan from Victoria Secondary to continue the Prop Team 1's case.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen present here today. I am the second speaker for the opening proposition, Ryan. I will further explain the reasons behind the policy we intend to adopt. However, before that, allow me to applaud the opening opposition's first speaker's intense social spirit. She has attempted to include all Singaporeans in this debate. However, I request that everyone present here pay attention to the notion that the needs of the elderly, once more I stress elderly, should take precedence over the needs of the young. Once more I stress young. Whilst I'm sure many university graduates would still like to think that they are young, for the purposes of this debate, I request that everyone present here adhere to our already defined definitions that the young are those below 14, not above 14, like the opening opposition's first speaker said. And for that, she also mentioned lots of times the word tangible, that the benefits that the elderly provide are intangible. Then she went on to talk about education. Does education not instill moral values in you? Does education not nurture your intelligence? Aren't those intangible values as well? Yet why does he stress so much on education when she claims that only tangible things are worth counting? Of course, cash is tangible. Is that all that they're saying? No, we'll go on to disprove that. Alright, now, the government has to be accessible to all Singaporeans in line with one of the Ministry of Finance's strategic outcomes, growth with opportunity for all. The creation of a committee for the elderly will allow the elderly to be self-sufficient financially. The Ministry of Community Development, Youth and Sport has already spearheaded this by creating the Ministerial Committee on Ageing. We intend to support them with funds and also creating new policies to help the Ministerial Committee on Ageing with their following goals: on enhancing the financial security of the elderly and providing holistic and affordable health and elder care. We will provide funds and create new policies to aid the MCDYS in the activities of this committee. What is important is that we also help the elderly to plan their financing. More often than not, CPF funds, Central Provident Funds that is, tend to run out over the later years of retirement, and many elderly are left penniless. The committee will first help the elderly plan their finances through financial planning programs. And
Point,
second,
sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Go ahead. Do you not think that these resources can be put to better use, like helping the needs of the youth in terms of education, as I've pointed out in my case?
Precisely what I'm trying to say is that we can put this money to better use by helping the elderly. Now, the youth have already benefited a lot. In 2005, we have spent 6.996 billion with that many zeros on education alone. And every year, 25% of the top performing people in primary schools and secondary schools, in accordance with our 14 years and below definition of the young, receive bursary and EduSave awards. Go ahead.
But sir, we see that the needs of the young are constantly evolving, such as in education. For example, the MOE is moving towards IT-based learning, and bringing in these computers is an evolving need.
Indeed, the needs of the young are evolving. So what? The elderly's needs might not evolve, but they are still there, and we are not solving it. The benefits we give to the opening opposition said that the elderly are already well cared enough for. However, what do we really see for the elderly? Nursing homes, bus subsidies of maybe fares at half rate. That's not really important. If the disheveled old man cannot afford a walking stick, is affected by osteoporosis and arthritis, he can't even make it to the bus stop. Such subsidies aren't really useful. Now, like I said, the primary need of the young is education. Character development, nurturing of creativity, and such all take place primarily in primary and secondary education. In this respect, Singapore is already excelling. The Wall Street Journal has gone so far as to term Raffles Junior College, our own junior college, as the gateway to the Ivy League. We are already recognized worldwide as an excellent nation in terms of providing education for the young. All the other needs of the young, such as food, financial needs, I clarify, food, all this will all be easily cared for by their parents. Yet, many elderly, however, are spurned by their children. The CPF funds they have for retirement are never enough for them to meet their healthcare needs, even in Class C wards with an 80% subsidy. Therefore, I would like to say that for the benefits of our economy, the needs of the elderly should be given precedence over the needs of the young. Thank you.
I now call Jolene from Cedar Secondary to advance the case.
Good morning, everyone of the House today. Before I begin my case proper, I would like to make a few rebuttals to the proposition team. Firstly, the first proposition speaker has constantly brought up that there is no one to care for the elderly in today's world, and that the elderly are very, very poor thing because there's no one to provide for them, and also in a country like Singapore, a developed nation. But what we would like to show you is that the government has constantly come up with many policies to aid the elderly in today's society, such as policies like the ElderShield, MediShield, MediSave, MediFund, and recently the government has also increased the number of studio flats to cater to the needs of the elderly. Studio flats are flats that have elderly-friendly infrastructure like non-slip floors and grab bars. Moving on. The proposition has also brought up that we will need to provide more funds to help the elderly in today's society, because currently there's a very little amount of money given to the current elderly. But what we're telling you is that by taking care of the needs of the young today, you can then provide provide financial aid for today's elderly, because the young will bring economic benefits to the country, and therefore the entire society will benefit.
Point of information, please.
No, thank you, sir. The proposition has also brought up that they've classified the young to be below 14. But that is ridiculous, because look at me, I'm 15 today. Am I supposed to be old or middle-aged? Moving on. The proposition has also brought up that that the opposition have said that intangible things are not practical, and we have actually supported education, which is something that's intangible. But what we show you is that even though education is something that's intangible, it will reap long-term tangible benefits, such when young people receive adequate education.
Point of information.
No, thank you, sir. Receive adequate education. They can then bring economic benefits to the country, and then increase the standard of living for the country, and the country can have economic growth. Yes. So moving on to my substantive. No, thank you, ma'am. Okay. Today, what the opposition is trying to tell the proposition is that we're not going to ignore the needs of the current elderly, but what we're doing is to push more focus on the needs of the current young, which will actually be our future elderly. Today, I will cover the economic aspect, which encompasses the importance of having a young workforce. Firstly, there will be increased productivity. To be able to have increased productivity, the healthcare needs of the young must be fulfilled. When the healthcare needs of the young are fulfilled, we can then get a healthy workforce, which will equate to a productive workforce. When there's a healthy workforce, they will take less numbers of medical leave, therefore increase the number of manpower to finish the given work. Also, when there is more manpower, you increase the rate of production of goods and therefore increase productivity. When there's an increased number of young people that are employable today, you therefore increase the number of taxpayers. And this is what we need in today's society. With an increased number of taxpayers, we can have more young taxpayers to support the financial burden of the elderly, the aging population. Take, for example, Japan. Japan has a very high income tax of 5 to 40% because they have a huge aging population that the current taxpayers are unable to support. Moving on to my second point, which will be the diversification of the economy. To get a strong, growing, sustainable economy, that is the goal of every country today. And to be able to achieve that, we will need to have the young to take over today and reap economic benefits for the country. Diversification of economy will lead to high productivity and high employment rates. When we give the young adequate education, and that is what we want to do representing educators today. The young are able to learn and adapt to changes faster and more easily as compared to the elderly. They are more flexible and they have more years to develop in terms of their career. They also harbor more potential to develop way past their current ability. Compared to the elderly who are stubborn and they cannot change their fixed mindset, which was actually fixed on when they were young. Therefore, the young are also more ready to accept the modern technology in today's world. Therefore, we show you that only the young can handle diversification of economy, because the young can take part in areas such as manufacturing and technological industries, because they can operate high-tech equipment, and therefore, with specialization, we can have economic growth. Thank you.